CLTFC Fan TV 2025. And welcome back, everybody. This is the preseason. We're just getting it going again. I'm JT. That's Lee. Tonight, we have two of our best. Vaughn, Matt Chantry. What's up, fellas?
What's up, fellas?
But before we do that, I just want to say that if you notice, the intro was one from 2022 that featured someone that is near and dear to our hearts and almost all the fans that knew her and anyone else that knew her. She was such a shining light. So, Lee, if you want to say something about Heidi real quick.
Heidi, if you don't know already, this Saturday at Hooligans from 6 to 9, we're all getting together, wear your Shard FC gear, wear your Tottenham gear, whatever. Favorite color is green. If you wanted to support, if you don't have any of that, just come out, have a couple of beers. Kids are welcome. And with that said, we love and miss you, Heidi. So anyway. All right, let's talk some Shard FC. Man, we are so back, man, so back. It's ready to go. I'm ready for the warm weather and be bitching about the heat out there versus the snow. So, I like
being able to wear a scarf, man. I love it when I can wear them when I really need to wear them.
Yes, that's right. We are back, man. It's good to be back. I've missed doing this, actually.
Yes.
So, welcome, Vaughn. Welcome, Matt. We figured we'd bring some of our friends on the show that's has always supported us and comes with the knowledge. How you guys doing? How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. It's been a long off season. Been enjoying some more Premier League football in the absence of Charlotte. Me more so than you, but it's been good. Looking forward to kicking things off again in just over a month.
A month, man. Let's fucking do it. On, man.
I agree with you on the scarf. I've got the pocket scarf, which is I'm looking forward to having some beers in the pocket
walking
scarf.
around like this now to keep your hands warm.
Yeah, hands warm, mostly beers.
Yes, get the beers cold and the hands warm. Vaughn, man, welcome to the show, bro. How you been doing?
Crazy busy, unbelievably busy, but things have been good. I've been able to take a little bit of a breather from the soccer world.
Yeah,
the season is so grueling. So I'm ready to jump back into it. I feel refreshed and excited and invigorated by what's happening.
That's what's up, man. Looking good, boys. Yeah, I know. Shaved yesterday. Shaved. But yeah, man. So, we were going to do an end of the year show and life got in the way and we couldn't quite get it. So
it's been rough, man.
It's been an odd couple of months, man.
I'm ready to that point. I'm ready for the season.
Yeah, you and me both. Me and you both. I'm sure we'll be come like August, it's like, Jesus, season's long as hell. Charlotte's always giving us content and talking about stuff. So no, it's good to be back. It's good to be back, man. I've missed it. And so with that being said,
camaraderie. Oh, camaraderie.
Yes. JT and his hugs. But yeah, so with that being said, I was going to take it all the way back to our loss against Orlando, the playoffs, kind of touch on that and bring it forward. I mean, obviously around Christmas and that, nothing really went down. So, we can fast forward real quick. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, man, we made the playoffs. I feel like we should have won that last game against Orlando, but we didn't. And here we are, man. So what did y'all think of the playoff run, man? Were you excited? Were you disappointed? What's y'all's thoughts?
Bittersweet, and it left a bitter taste. Is really, I think, what happened ultimately is I think the belief was there at every level, right? The fans believed, the players believed. In hindsight, what happened afterwards in terms of other results falling in our favor where we would have had home field advantage, it just left this feeling of, man, we could have had home field advantage all the way to MLS Cup. We saw Red Bulls, they went on their run to MLS Cup. And so I think it just felt like what a missed opportunity. And I think everybody's been chomping at the bit to get back out there and right that wrong. And feeling a little bit of aggrieved from it, but it was so close. We could taste it, right? The late goal from Swiderski and just stoppage time. The game is right there for us, and just slipped through our fingers. And so Orlando, that series ultimately just left that awful feeling. But I think now
It's just the expectations, though, doesn't it?
The expectations and the standard is just at a whole different level. And I think the message heading into season 4 is wildly different than we've ever experienced for this club.
We got a taste.
Taster.
For me, it was like Vaughn said, it was like definitely a bit of a what could have been, especially afterwards. It felt like the draw, at the East, like opened up for us at that point, and it felt like that we had the opportunity to do something, and obviously we missed out on that. However, now, like a couple of months later, I'm obviously a bit more reflective about it, and can see that we took a big step forward from the season before. We didn't embarrass ourselves. We competed hard. Arguably, we got a little bit screwed by the ref in that last game. There was certainly some controversial calls, but I'll look back at last season, I think, and generally speaking, be pretty pleased with it. It was we needed to have that first playoff win, and we got that. Regardless of what Taylor Twelman says about whether a win on penalty shootout is a win or not, it's a win. I've been on the wrong side of that with England enough. When you lose a penalty shootout, to know how bad it feels. That if you win a penalty shootout, you've won the match.
Yeah, right. If you're English, it counts. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, just think, right? Last year we started out, we didn't really have any DPs. I mean, we started off with, I think, Vaughn, you might have wanted to bring this up. I know we talked offline about our starting lineup last year, man. And who we started out with and who we ended up with is night and day, really. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. I mean, the attacking pieces heading into last season, game 1, were Enzo Capetti, Kerwin Vargas, Bruch Diagra, and Yuri Tavares. Like, that was the 4 that started game 1. And we're going to be entering this season, whether Swiderski's on the roster or not, and I'm sure that's going to be a talking point here. But whether he's there or not, we've got Abada, Biel, Ajimong, and Zaha, it looks like. So it's just night and day difference of what our attack is going to be capable of heading into game 1. Full preseason pretty much with Dean. It's not the first preseason with Dean, right? A lot of these guys are stepping in already knowing the system, already knowing the expectation. The standard has been set, and they know that the standard needs to be further elevated. Playing with that belief and with that chip on your shoulder, and that, hey, we've got something now to go to that next level. It's a really exciting time. And I think it's also where a lot of the fan bases wanted the club to be, which is we got to compete for championships. We got to go for the gold. And it's not just make it and survive. Now it's, we need to win. We need to win a lot. We need to win pretty. It needs to be attractive how it happens. And I think we are being set up with the right roster from day 1 to be able to do that right out of the gates.
Yeah, a couple of points.
Hey, I'm the only one who has this set up in their garage, and it's like 18 degrees outside. And Lee and Matt, I don't know what that is in Celsius, but man, I had to move this space heater up to my hands. My hands are cold.
It's the hat, man. The hat keeps your head warm.
It is actually doing very well. I was a little concerned about it. I don't have as you would call it, a beanie. I don't have a CLTFC beanie.
You have to get one.
But you get those earmuffs.
Yeah, get the earmuffs. Yeah, so like to Vaughn's point, right? I mean, we're starting off. I mean, Dino, if I remember correctly, he came in preseason, but it wasn't. He still didn't know the players, right? Last season, right? So it was still him trying to figure out his best 11 that he wanted to start. And like you said, right? I mean, we re-signed Pep. We got him off of a DP deal, so that's huge. I think this year. We'll touch on Zaha here in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Dino says he wants to win it all. There's no reason why we can't. I feel like the players are sort of backed off on that. The top 4 at least for the season. So it'll be interesting to see how they go, man. So looking at that schedule, it looks rough, man, right out the gate, right? Seattle, and then we come home to Atlanta. But hey, man, if you're gonna play, if you're gonna win, you're gonna have to play.
Hey,
Matt,
screw Atlanta.
Yeah, screw Atlanta for real. What you gotta say, Matt?
Yeah, I was going to say the preseason point can't be understated. I think Dino went into last season and he did what all good pragmatic coaches, managers do, and that's we've got to get the defense right and build from a solid foundation, and that was his first goal. That we clearly did that. We had a very good defense last year. No one would debate that. Now we've got that foundation. It enables him to improve beyond that. And hopefully improve our attacking output this season, which I'm sure is his goal. He wants to maintain what we had on the defensive side and have a full preseason with 4 much better attackers than we had to start with last season, per Vaughn's point. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do there.
It's a complete overhaul, man. It's but yeah, talking to your point about the defense and that, I mean, Kalina got his goalkeeper of the year, totally deserved. I was a little worried there that the league were going to do him dirty, man. But he pulled through and he got it. So congrats to the Kalina for that. Our back line, right? I mean, we started off, with what? Byrne, Privet, Malanda, and Uronen. Uronen's now gone, right? We have Ream in there. So it'd be interesting to see. My fear about that is if Ream can play 30 plus games this season without getting hurt or needing time off, right? I mean, he's I'm Ream's biggest fan, and I'm sure everyone's going to destroy me for that much. I love Ream, but
he hasn't been injured that much. He's honestly he had a broken arm once in a freak injury that I remember sometime recently. But
just slow you down, man. Wind resistance.
Knock on wood, man. Y'all better not be.
Other than that, he's been good. Like I'm not too worried about that. The thing that does worry me about Ream is potentially against the faster wingers. Like you can't play a high line with Tim Ream as your left back because they'll just get burned every time. You've got to be playing a bit deeper. You've got to have a fast defender next to him to be able to cover him a bit, and then you're fine. So we might have to. There'll be some games where maybe Dino switches things up a bit. It's a long season. You're not going to play the same 11 every game. But I think that 4 will be our primary defense. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I know, Milana's been getting some looks, right, from over there in Europe, I believe. I think it was Leicester that maybe was interested in him at one point, or it was.
He doesn't want to go there anyway.
Vaughn, who's locked in? Because we locked Privet in for a while, right? The last season, and Malanda, right? I remember.
Yeah, Malanda was extended.
For something like another 3 year. I mean, we can loan him out or whatever, but basically, our back defense is pretty much set.
Absolutely, yeah. No, as far as like team control and players being around, like we're in a good spot in terms of player contracts and where they're at, and frankly, that is something that also I think should be noted for the club and for the roster, where we're talking about potentially Swiderski being moved on and Urinen's left and he's not on the books. I think that we have, and I know because we haven't executed a lot of trades and we don't have a lot of TAM level guys, we have a lot of flexibility heading into the season in what we can do in the summer. Also with the new MLS roster rules that were announced here in the last week. In terms of being able to trade for a player where, yes, you can do GAM, or I can go and try and get a transfer fee. So let's say Ream unfortunately gets hurt. Something happens. Don't want to speak that into existence, knock on wood. But we now have a few other mechanisms to go get a player that within the league and should have the allocation money in the coffers to be able to do that fairly easily. We're not really, really tight. And I think there's been other times heading into the season where we ended up tighter on the books than we wanted to be. We had some iffy spends on international spots and on, we spent 400,000 of GAM on Hamady Diop, and we spent all this money on Tuiloma, and like those are committed dollars that now we don't have those commitments heading into the season. And if we end up selling players, let's say Malanda's sold, that might add to those coffers as well. So I think what the other understated thing here is we have a roster that can compete right now. We have the ability to maybe add in a DP in the summer if Swiderski's moved on, because we did a great job on BL's deal of getting him below a DP tag. So I'm just really excited in all of those regards, is that this is also built in a hey, our window is not just this season. This is built in a way where we can have sustained success and growth over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, all valid points there, Vaughn, right? My concern, though, about since we've been talking about the back line is the depth or the lack of depth, right? I mean, Brian here from the Yeti clan. What's up, Yeti clan? Pedro needs to step up at left back. I mean, he could slide in. I don't think he did a very bad – I don't really think he did bad when he did play, right? I mean, obviously, he's not going to get the minutes that Ronan had, but I don't think he's that bad. But then you start thinking about it, right? Center backs, right? I mean, Tuluma. I mean, he's come here. Before he came here, he was with Seattle, was it, or Portland?
Portland.
Yeah, and then he did pretty well for Portland, right? And then he came here. He had a couple of. That's when Own Goals was one of our star players, and unfortunately for him, he was knocking them in. So it's just I'm just a little concerned that, I know we shift the contracts around, we shift some players in and out, but again, season's long. That's what we were talking about early on. But go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say depth, I think defensively is a fair point, especially at fullback. I think that's something to keep your eye on. And I saw we were linked to Matt Target at Newcastle, for example. Who knows whether or not we can afford that or not, but I know it was a link. So there seems to be at least an appetite to look at the options that are out there, put it that way. I definitely could see depth at fullback being potentially an issue. Tuluma is an interesting one. Like, was he bad the Latanzia season? Absolutely. Did not have a good year that year for us. However, there were lots of players that didn't play well for us under Latanzia that looked better under Dean Smith because 100%. They had a better coach.
Yeah,
he came in a couple of times last year, Tuluma, and he looked okay. There was was it Columbus away? I think it was, where he assisted the goal for Patrick. Like, for example, I don't think is he a starting level defender? Probably not, but I don't think he's as bad as people are concerned about. There's a debate you can have as well about how much salary we've got committed to him.
Yeah,
but if we wanted to move him on, we'd have to find a trade partner. So. For now, I'm fine with it. It's a thing to look at, but it's way down my list.
Fair enough.
If we needed to, we could buy him out. We don't have to find a trade partner.
That's a good point.
Speaking of moving on, my God, if this is the beginning of the season, we're talking about Tuoloma right now. All right, we buried the lead. I don't know what y'all already know. Someone tell me about Zora, or how you pronounce his name. And what's going on with Soderski? Give me the meat, man. Give me the meat.
Forward, man. We still got about 40 minutes of conversation.
I know, but come on, man. I'm hungry.
Jeez, man.
I'm hungry.
I know. It's like being on Twitter, but in real FaceTime, man. Yeah. No, it's great points, Matt. And yes, I believe somebody says, Courtney was asking, is he a buyout candidate? Yes, right. I think now with the new rule, you can buy out 2 in a calendar year or something, where last time it was 1. I don't know, man. MLS keeps changing them up. I know.
Could have done with that rule in 2023, by the way. That's all I'm saying, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And so welcome to LA Galaxy buddies, man. What's up, Egg, man? Appreciate you tuning in.
What's up?
So if anybody has a topic they want to touch on, put it in the comments. We might not get to it right away, but we will definitely bring it up throughout the show. So, just go ahead and keep putting it in the comments. But all right, so the back line we feel comfortable with. We feel comfortable with Kalina being, another Kalina sheet there. All right, so we move to midfield, right? So, so we got Westwood, right? Obviously going to be captain, doing his thing. Bronico, he's going to be running around. Apparently he's still running on the treadmill from Thanksgiving. Hasn't stopped. Who else? Abada. And then, last year at least it was Vargas, right? I'm not going to touch on Saha until the end of the show because, I know. Technically not a player yet, hasn't been announced. So we're going to go with what we 100% sure of, right? So,
well, before we go any further, because I'm going to sit back and listen because y'all the knowledgeable ones, and I'm on the Kool-Aid or whoever that with the minty smiley face. But nonetheless, I am so much happier to the earlier point. At the beginning of last season, there are all these unknowns. In hell, even it seemed like till September. Like we kept on saying, we got to put it together. We got to put it together. Well, I feel like what we do have right now, minus Zoha and whoever else, if Swiderski leaves and so on and so forth. I am so happy with Dean Smith and what we already have in place today starting the season. So happy.
Fair.
All
right. So, yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of the midfield? Matt, you go first, or Vaughn, whoever wants to jump on.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we discuss Williamson now?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, he's a player, right?
In my opinion, Urso was starting a lot the season. Williamson, Vaughn, you might know more about Williamson than me. He seems to me like he's the Urso upgrade. I heard a lot of good things from Portland about him. Maybe some injury concerns there potentially, but a lot of people thought he's a very good player when fit and healthy. So potentially they're a big upgrade on Urso. Urso was fine, did a good enough job for us and fit the system, worked hard, but it was certainly a position at the end of the year where you're like, hey, yeah, this could potentially be an upgrade going into next year. And I think that's maybe what we've done there. So him and Westwood, I think, could potentially be a really good midfield pivot for us. Looking forward to seeing those two. Cam is going to be an interesting one. My assumption is that Pep Biel will be shifted back to Cam. I don't know that. That's my guess based on the other transfers, which we'll speak about later. But I would have assumed that Pep's going to be moved back to Cam. Obviously, he didn't quite work out there at the end of last season and fitted better on the wing. But I'm hopeful that with a full preseason of getting into the system with Dean and building chemistry with Pat in front of him and with the wingers either side of him, that I think we can do a lot better there, because that's his natural position. That's where he works best at. Last year, he was on the wing just because it was just kind of circumstances a little bit, and like that's where he fit. I'm hopeful that this year, he's going to be our go-to Cam.
Yeah, I mean, he showed what he could do, I think, right? And for us to get him back under that DP salary, some great work there by Bobby and co, right, with Charlotte FC. So kudos to them. So, yeah, it'd be good for him like you said, to play in the middle there where I think he prefers to play there. But go ahead, Vaughn, what are you going to say, man?
Yeah, Williamson is a significant add to this team. He is a ball progressing midfielder. He is elite at gaining interceptions and starting transitions going the other way and running at teams with the ball at his feet. He's very good in controlling the ball. And he's been a part of some very good Portland Timbers sides, playing alongside some very good MLS midfielders, stalwarts, such as Diego Chara and Diego Valeri. He has had the injury concerns. He's had some ACL injuries, and I don't think he's topped about 1,400 minutes. I don't think he's hit 1,500 minutes in a season. So kind of works well for Charlotte FC, where we've got this kind of rotation of guys that can all step into that dual 8 role, where you're going to have a rotation of Gianni being out there, of having Bronico that needs to see time, Ben Bender, Nikola Petkovic, Williamson. We don't need to lean on him to be a 2,000 to 3,000 minute guy. But when he is healthy, when he is playing his best, this is a guy that played his way into regular U.S. men's national team call-ups. He would have been in England had he not gotten injured. And he is still very young. He can still be the kind of guy that can stick with a club for 5-6 years. So I think this is a really good fit for Williamson and where he is in his career, what he's trying to do, being reunited with Miles Joseph, who was his assistant at Portland. He's walking into some familiar faces like Bill Tuiloma, like David Bingham. I mean, there are some people around the club that he is familiar with and will have that relationship. And even the Ben Bender relationship, they both went to Maryland University. So having a couple of guys, getting back to the East Coast, I think it's one of those ones where Williamson can thrive being in a setup like this. And the concerns of, he's got those ACL injuries and he's playing on turf. He played on turf, but in his entire career in Portland, not a concern. If you're thinking that, wipe it right off the plate. What I think he serves as, to Matt's point of saying an upgrade to Urso, absolutely. I think he is historically in MLS a better attacking number 8 type of midfielder. But in addition to that, he's going to help us a lot in transition. And what we saw down the stretch last year, the change in our tactics was when it was Urso, Bronico, and Byrne all having the freedom to get advanced. And to your guys' point, BL playing wide, Abada switching sides. There were a lot of tactical things that were going on. So I don't know, BL is the center attacking mid. There could be times where it's still Bronico and Williamson out there. There's going to be times where it's going to be Gianni and BL. I think what it means is that we're going to have options. We're going to be able to throw a few different looks at teams tactically based off of, are we playing on the road? What is the guys' forms? What's happening and in the game state, and what do we need? What does the moment call for? Dean is going to have a few different things in his bag of tricks to be able to address those in a way that I don't think he's had through his time here in Charlotte over the past year.
Yeah. So, I mean, does Bronico get bumped?
I think Bronico is inevitable. Bronico is going to still find a way to play 2,000 to 2,500 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just,
I agree with that.
That's a good tagline. Bronico is inevitable.
Yes, 100%. No, that man. He keeps proving his haters wrong, man. That's for sure. So,
but we have to have the Bronico that we saw down the stretch. The Bronico that gets 4 assists in a 10-game span.
Yeah.
And that's a tall ask, right? I'm saying if he was playing all the time, that's saying Bronico needs to be a 12-assist midfielder. Like, that's not realistic.
Well, say what you're thinking.
Well, no, I've said it over the time. Like, he had something like 5 or 6 goal contributions in nearly 6,000 minutes for the club.
Yeah.
He needed that it factor that was missing was his involvement in attack. But I think Dean found a way to, within the system, get Bronico advanced, give him freedom to play between the lines. And this is the big thing that we're going to get to about Zaha. We have so many weapons and so many threats that a guy like Bronico can make those blind runs in and around the box, and those opportunities become more available for him because of the other guys he's on the pitch with.
Yeah.
As the collective is stronger because of all of those moving pieces.
To that point, right? I mean, I think Abada needs to step up and show his worth now, right? I mean, I think he, obviously coming in
second on the goal and team. He's second in goals on the team.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I mean, we didn't have, well, that's a whole nother debate, and we debated that really hard last year. But yeah, I think Abada needs to click it up a notch, right? Or at least be more consistent. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. But him and Bronico sort of were linking up pretty good there towards the end of the season too. So, yeah, with that being said, so then if we move forward to the forwards, right? We got, Pat, who had his first men's national team, scored a goal, looked great. My concern there with him is people are going to start sniffing around and, now he's on the biggest stage outside of Charlotte FC, if you will, right? And so
that's a good problem to have, though. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't be so
bad. A good job as a club. That's going to happen.
New contract already, though. If we had signed his contract before he went, but I think he's going to stick around for at least one more season.
Hey, Lee, you better start asking some of these. You keep on starring all these comments. They're coming in, man. You're going to have like 25. You better get them out there.
I'm working it, man. I got a foul system going on.
Hey, y'all. Lee's working it.
Yeah. So, yes. No, this is true, Jay, right? So, Swiderski, 7 goals, 2 assists, 662 minutes. It does equate. And I believe Christian Benteke's 23 goals. Yes, 100%. I'm not debating that. I think Swiderski's kind of getting the shit end of the deal. I personally think he wants to stay at the club or would have liked to stay, but now it sounds like he's off to Greece, I think it is, maybe, right? They came back in with another offer. And so, I hate to see him go. I think he did well for the club, and as Jay posted there with the numbers, and I know Vaughn, you and I have discussed those numbers too, right? It's it is what it is. It just frees up a DP slot, right? It's almost like we've pretty much just flushed the old Miggy era of players now, right? Other than a couple that's left, and it's like a whole new team. So
Ooh. I got a question because I only wrote down 10, just getting back into the season, but I thought this was a good one. Do you think we are going to see another celebration from the club like we did that first one for Swiderski being the first DP? You remember how they had us all out at the stadium and all the sport? I mean, that was so if we sign a really bigger player, do you think they're going to do that again, or was that like a one-off for the first season and all that stuff?
Maybe the problem with that at the moment is we're traveling a lot in preseason right now. We're in Miami. They're going to be able to
I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about in the future at all.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, like you get a big enough player like that. I think they would do. Yeah, big enough player with the timings right. They would do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, interesting. But yeah, Vaughn, what do you think, man? What do you think about Swiderski / Pat? It's not a bad combo to start out with.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel for Swiderski because really what he did down the stretch, to Jay's point, and I've highlighted it online on some posts. He was playing like MLS elite level down the stretch, and nobody really gave him credit for it. His goals per 90 was through the roof. I mean, he was on pace to win the Golden Boot by like a country mile. Like, had he played the full season, it didn't always look pretty. I think that's some of why people didn't give him the credit that he did, right? Like, watching Agyemang out there, he is a physical beast. He dominates guys. He makes certain plays in open space. Whereas Swiderski, I think down the stretch was more opportunistic. There were some of those poached goals where it was following up the rebound, toe poking it away from a keeper, getting in the box a little bit, fox in the box type of thing. Yeah. It wasn't an out of this world goal. It was team goals. It was being in the right place at the right time. But in the playoffs against Orlando, right? Like, Agyemang starting those games, not finding the back of the net, and Swiderski's the one that comes on for a substitute cameo appearance and finds the back of the net. So between the two, right? Like, I think it's pretty clear the club is looking to move on from Karol Swiderski to open up that DP spot and to lean in to Patrick Agyemang as the center forward of the future.
Yeah.
Agyemang's development is that he's got to be able to score in the first half of games. And I noted this. He scored in the first half of his U.S. men's national team debut, but all season last year, he had one goal in the first half. And I believe it was actually off of a throw in at midfield that he had to take the length of the pitch. So he's got to find a way to beat MLS defenders in the first half. And I think stylistically as a team, we need to be more attacking. This was a point that I wanted to make that I've said privately, but I kind of want to say it here in this.
Say it, Vaughn.
We have had a team that has been being built to be competitive and be a tough team to beat. And I think the next maturation of this team is to be a team that can beat the snot out of their opponents week in and week out. Ooh! Right? Like we haven't been a team that is going to go out there and blow the lid off of a team like Seattle 3-0, 4-0, and embarrass them. And be an attack that teams get scared of. We have guys that every now and then, like Agyemang. There's no center back in this league that wants to go against Agyemang. But now you're going to have Agyemang. You're going to have Zaha. You're going to have Abada out on the back post. You're going to have BL able to drift into the box. You're going to have Eric Williamson that's going to be able to get into the box. It's going to just be an onslaught offensively compared to what we've had in the past. And what we did down the stretch was fantastic, but it was against New England. It was against Chicago. It was against DC United. That's where a lot of those Swiderski goals were coming, was against those opponents that were out of the playoffs, fighting for their lives. But we were trying to prove a point and get that home field playoff advantage. And I think at the end of the day, that next step for the team is, we got to be strong defensively, but we've got to be able to punch any team in the mouth like that, not just the bottom feeders.
100%. I agree with everything you touched on there, man. 100%. There's not much to add to that. Matt, you want anything to add to that, man?
On the Pat point, just the reason I think he scores goals primarily in the second half is because he does better when the game is stretched. Even the goal that you saw him score for the US the other day was him getting in behind the defense, which is rare in the first half of games. Teams that usually don't allow that to happen. He got a bit lucky with the way the ball came to him, but that was a classic Pat goal. That was there's so many goals he scored like that. So Vaughn's spot on that he needs to add scoring goals in different ways, and that's going to allow him to score more goals in the first half.
He was a super sub. I mean, he didn't come in until the second half. I don't know how you know look at your numbers.
That was part of it, but even when he's the games he started, he just didn't.
I get it.
Much. I think we'll see. He's good in the air. We've seen him score headers before.
Well,
I think that we'll see hopefully better crossing into him to allow him to do that. Hopefully we'll see him add some more fox in the box type instincts into his game as a striker. That's because Vaughn's right. That's what he's got to do to take it to the next level. Is add those. If you're a striker, you can't score one type of goal. You've got to score a few different types of goals.
Well, and you don't drift wide. His problem was getting out of the box and his tendency to drift wide. You got Zaha out there now. Don't drift wide. You're not going to want to drift wide.
We kept talking. Lee and I kept talking last season. Even we were watching the game live. It's that first touch. You remember we were like, he's got that heavy first touch. So he was drifting out. So maybe he's more comfortable. He's gotten that speed on the turn because once he's going with the ball, I mean, he's more dangerous than anyone else. But it's that to get him going and that size he has.
Once he's running at you, the defenders, you can see their faces are like, oh shit.
So what do we do?
I want no part of this guy running at me with the ball right now.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh shit!
So
it's the box in the box.
Shit! Swiderski, who's Pat's backup?
Edon Toklamati.
You think so?
Yeah, he's ready.
One more time.
He's ready.
Edon Toklamati. I think he's a better aerial.
Edon Toklamati.
He's our U22 signing. He's an Israeli national.
Don't be grinning at me, Vaughn. Remember, I represent the normal fan that doesn't know shit for the most part.
He played for Crown Legacy. He was signed pretty late in the summer last year.
Old Edon Toklamati.
Hey,
yes, Edon Toklamati, get on the phone. Come on now.
So we keep mentioning his name. It looked like the club before the show started, right? They put that ha ha tweet out or whatever message out, and Zaha is apparently getting announced tomorrow, is what I feel. I don't know for sure.
But I think you can say for sure at this point.
I mean, I feel like yeah, I think we can say for sure, right? But
Lee, we're not journalists, man. We're commentators. We're talking heads.
Commentator, man.
Oh, man, don't bring me down, Lee. It's already cold enough in the garage.
I'm trying to hit you up, man. I'm trying to get you all worked up.
I got you.
It's a good signing for Charlotte, right? It's a big name. It's a global name. The one thing, we got him on loan, I think, for 18 months, I think is what I read, right? So, I mean, that's good. And, hopefully, that style of player coming in helps the other names that we can't get, right? For whatever reason, right? They either don't want to come here or apparently physicals from last year. But, Zaha's going to open it up, right? I mean, he's definitely an upgrade to Vargas, right? But, my problem with Zaha has always been sort of his mentality, right? And I'm just wondering how that's going to transfer over into MLS and into Charlotte. Like if he gets frustrated with the league or if he just gets frustrated in general, because, I mean, we have to admit, right, after the known players, the quality sort of drops off a little bit, right? And I just could see him sort of getting his head down and losing faith in the project. But hopefully Dino can keep him up, man. But yes, I think he's going to bring multiple goals, more scoring options, more chances, definitely get some more shit on target than what Vargas did.
Damn glass half empty.
I'm just getting
hey, guess what, y'all? They're announcing the best signing the team's ever had. We're super stoked about it. But I'm just thinking maybe he's really going to get pissed off and suck. Come on, Lee.
Man, I'm just
End
being
of the season. Come on, man. What the hell, man?
Oh yeah,
he's got a lot to prove. I think but that's the thing. A motivated footballer like him is gonna be good for us. Like he's not coming here as a retirement project. Like
exactly.
He went to Turkey to try and play Champions League football, and he was still good in Turkey. He was still a double-digit goal kind of guy in Turkey at Galatasaray. He then moved to Lyon, try to get back into a top 5 league, and he didn't get any opportunities. It wasn't working for him there, and then he wasn't welcomed back at Galatasaray. So for him, he's like, I got to go somewhere and play. I'm 32. I want to go be competitive. And at the end of the day, you look at all of his posts on Instagram this past week. It's all this chip on his shoulder, all this, I'm going to prove him wrong, and, show me battle tested. And I think the other thing that he's going to have as a motivating factor is his former teammate at Crystal Palace, Benteke, just won the Golden Boot at DC.
Yeah.
Zaha outscored Benteke all but like one season that they played together at Crystal Palace from the wing. So for him, he's going to say, I think I can come into MLS and I can win the Golden Boot. Watch me do it.
Yeah, right? I was never Benteke fan anyways.
And so the goal is not, let's get 10 goals. But I think he's going to be gunning for like 20 goals, like 25 goals. Like that's what he's going to be setting as his mark of, I need to come into this league and I need to be kicking butt.
Knowledge.
And so he's coming from a place that wouldn't let him see the pitch, wouldn't let him train, didn't show belief in him, was willing to let him go. He was left for nothing. And so I think he's going to be coming in with an opportunity to say, no, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the guy for this team and
be the guy.
I can do it. And he's got a coach in Dean Smith that's going to know his play inside and out. I don't think Dean would sign off on the move if he didn't believe in Zaha and what he still has in the bank.
I mean, Dean tried to sign Zaha for Aston Villa at least once. He's definitely signed off on this signing and was probably pushing it.
Yeah, and to that point, right, Vaughn, you mentioned where Dean wouldn't sign off. It does feel like now Dean's started getting his team together, right? It's more Dean's team than Dean's coming in trying to make the square fit in the circle, whatever the damn thing is. But so I'm excited for Zaha, man. I might not have shown it, but I'm just always cautiously optimistic with players like that, because I mean the reason he was with 2 European League teams. That's why he couldn't stay in Europe, right? So MLS was sort of the next step for him, right? Other than
he didn't do that badly in Galatasaray, though. Like I know that that's part of it, maybe, but he scored that last season. He scored 10 goals and they won the league.
Yeah,
that's a good season. Turkey's not maybe not top 5 league, but it's a decent league still. Lyon, there were some issues there, but they've I think that as a club they've maybe got bigger issues as well. It's something to watch, maybe, but I think you've got to motivate him and you've got to get that right player and the right coach in. And I think that we've got that with Dino. He's probably a player as well that suits the English system a bit more, which is what we have. A lot of players in Europe go to other countries and fail and then do extremely well in other countries. Like sometimes you just suit certain leagues and certain styles of play better than others. And I can see that being Zaha, to be honest.
Well, Brad,
and it takes the pressure off of Abada. The other big thing in this, right? Like Abada came in. He's 22. The guy is still a young dude. He's younger than Ajimang, right? Like he's got that DP tag. He entered middle of the season. He didn't get a full preseason. I think he's in a different place entering this year. And now you look at our front 3 of Zaha, Ajimang, and Abada.
Yeah,
Abada is arguably our 3rd best attacking piece, and he was the best player. He was the guy on Celtic when he signed with us. And he's now our 3rd best attacking option.
Yeah,
what?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's more settled, right? I mean, he's married now and everything, right? So he's like this. He's just ready for kind of come back feeling.
I remember when he got signed in the middle of the season. Then he went off. There was the international break, back and forth, and
he got injured as well for a bit. He was out
where
for
he's
a
from
month.
and all that was going on there. And I mean, if he's back and settled it, the more we talk, the more excited I'm getting.
Our team's definitely upgrading, man. I'm definitely looking forward to the season, man.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Edgar says it right here. Hopefully my mouse doesn't die. But yeah, cat's out of the bag about what Charlotte has built in the pitch and in the stands. Yeah, I mean, we all expect that, right? To be a contender for sure.
But Boga and I forget the other guy's name on the Soccer Wise podcast.
David Goss.
Yeah.
David Goss.
They when they were speaking about how Zaha's about to happen at the end of last week, they were bigging up Charlotte. They were like, Charlotte's going to do some things this year. They were speaking about us extremely positively in terms of how we looked at the end of last year and what we're doing, building it into this year. Those guys aren't Charlotte FC fans. They've got no reason to big us up. Like, if they're bigging us up, they're seeing what's going on and they're approving.
Yeah, it's fun. But this is what gets me, right? We got the discovery rights to Miggy here, right? And from a player that used to play for Atlanta, we got the discovery rights. He goes over to Europe, and then Atlanta needs us to give him the okay to talk to him. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the good thing is that the add-on money that they were going to get from the sale, right? I'm sure that's all included too. But I'm kind of glad.
I don't think there'd be any money related to it. Just so everybody knows. No, if they're saying that we gave permission, that says that we're out, that we have conceded those discovery rights.
So we're just going to be
you can't hold the discovery rights unless you are actively trying to sign the player. So
you think we wasn't in at all then?
No, I think we were very much in, and I think we are now out.
Yeah.
So my feeling, I have some opinions. I don't know for sure. I think ultimately at the end of the day, Newcastle said they weren't going to deal him to us. Whether that was Newcastle, whether that was the Almiron camp, I don't.
Fun.
I mean, I was freezing earlier with my space heater.
With the weather, yeah.
Don froze
but
up
us saying, "Hey, we're moving on." We're not. Oh, am I back now?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All your hops,
but no,
falling off, Vaughn.
Well, and I see some notes from Jay on like submitted a legitimate offer. No, you have to be actively engaged in trying to sign that player. If the opportunity has passed, you can't just hold on to the discovery rights. So Atlanta can pick up those discovery rights.
I'll say that I heard from a decent source that we were getting something back for it.
That'd be great if so.
I'm not going to say that that's definite or anything like that, but I'm fairly confident in it.
Yeah, I felt that too, man. But we'll see. I mean, it's water under the bridge at this point, in my opinion. It makes Atlanta a little stronger, right? Which we'll see. We'll see if they start. So. What else we got?
Screw that city.
When do we think Pat will get his money from Charlotte, man? Do you think we lock him in this year?
End of the season is my guess. You got to remember that we've got two club option years on him, one of which is this season, one of which is next season. He absolutely deserves to get paid more. I don't think anyone in the world would debate that. But it's a salary cap. It's a salary cap league, and Zoran's got to be financially pragmatic with what he's doing. And he's got all these other things that he needs to solve and improve on the team. So if you know you're getting someone for 2 years, it's really hard to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to give him another $500,000 or whatever it might be. I pulled that figure out of nowhere. But at some point you have to do it because otherwise you're going to piss him off. Like if he's deserving more money and he's sitting there saying, oh, not yet, it doesn't leave a good taste in the mouth. So there's a point where a decision will have to be made regardless. My bet is that it's at the end of the season.
Yeah, I just hope his agent doesn't get in the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my take is that it takes two to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Right? Like Zoran said that they had engaged trying to talk to Ajimong about an extension. So we know that the talks and the desire is there for us to extend him.
What?
If I'm Ajimong's agent, I'm maybe thinking about holding out for if he keeps that price low, he has the ability to negotiate. If he wants to move, right? Ajimon could say, no, I want to make it to Europe.
Yeah.
Well, if I want to make it to Europe, I don't want to get locked into a big MLS salary. I want to be able to have that as a negotiation point and a flexibility point for when I'm signing with whatever new team. Or he's saying, yes, I want to sign with Charlotte. I want to be here long term. But my leverage point is, no, I'm betting on myself that I'm going to get a U.S. men's national team call up and I'm going to kick butt there. I'm betting on myself that I'm going to become a starter and I'm going to score 15 goals in the league. And I'm going to be able to have some leverage when I'm negotiating as a 15 goal scorer, as opposed to when I have 11 career goals in the top flight.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely got food for thought for Poch there for the men's national team, right? Different dynamic, man. So
we would definitely rather have the latter. Like, he's investing. They're investing in him. He's investing in himself, and hopefully, it will take off here and not look, across the pond. But the whole idea is, when is the deadline for there to be any kind of contract extension? Is there any kind of in other words, it can happen anytime, right? They're already starting talks.
And end of next season.
If it hasn't happened by this point, then what the hell's going on?
He would be a free agent at the end of next season.
The end of next season.
Next season, 2026.
So obviously he's on the rise. He doesn't get paid much now. Now would be the time to lock him in. But there is no true deadline hanging out there. It's just more like the feels. As the kids would say, it's about the feels. But, hey, and it's also a betting. Am I going to do well? Am I not going to do well? Whatever. That's interesting. So, all right.
Yeah. So while we're on the air, apparently Libero had leaked the kit. So people have been saying the new kit leaked. But I'm looking at this. I don't know if this will show through, right? Can y'all see that?
Yeah, it looks just black.
Black and white, maybe. It's hard to tell. But see the CLTFC? Wasn't that? I don't think that's legit, right? Because we would have the regular crest that we have on all the other.
It's our secondary logo.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's the legit.
Yeah. And another thing I'd like to say about that, when we had Joe LeBou on last year, because, Adidas has to design the kits fully in advance or whatever, I remember him saying that it wasn't the kit this year, but the 2025 kit that he thought was badass, or, well, you can't wait to see it. And from his enthusiasm and from what you're just showing me, granted through your phone on here, that ain't it. That's not something I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. But no, he was like, oh man, wait till you see the kit from 2025
I don't know, that looks pretty sick to me.
I haven't seen it.
Some sort of design on it, right? It's got some design. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sorry, man. If I had more planned, there's some sort of
whatever. We'll figure it out.
I don't know. Like to me, I feel like it wouldn't have the CLTFC the secondary logo. So
it could be.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, it looks good. I mean, personally, I'm gonna buy the new kit regardless what it looks like. So
all I've seen is what Lee has put up there, people.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've seen too. As we came on the air, people were like, the kit's leaked. So it's we will have a better picture of it tomorrow. Says Top End. That's what's up, Top End. So yeah. And
I'm assuming that's because it will be on Zaha's body in many promotions.
That's great.
Hey, probably, yeah, exactly.
CLTFC Fan TV for the fans, by the fans. Damn it! Got the shirt coming out, the new kit coming out. Got Zaha definitely being announced tomorrow. Dropping all sorts of stuff, Lee.
Yeah, well, I mean, to Claudio's credit, he's the one that tweeted it out. So we'll see.
I know.
If that's it, then it is what it is, and I'll another $160 on this club. I swear to God, Anyways, yeah. So yeah. That's the second logo. So yeah. Anyways, for anybody that may be a parent, have kids in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, apparently the schools are closed tomorrow. So there's that. And yes, as Courtney said, they're also off Friday. So there's that. Do we think Van Bender's going to get quality minutes this year, or do we loan him out again? I think his time's up here, personally. We'll see.
He didn't get very much in the way of minutes at Tampa Bay Rowdies, and they are a level beneath us. If he's not getting minutes there, I'm not sure he's going to get minutes.
Wasn't he featured in a promo just recently the club put out? Like some little 10-second teaser somewhere? Like him and some other people, Ajimon, other people walking.
I think they were just showing people coming back from the off season, right? Coming back to
but I mean, it wasn't like, hey, they're coming back. It was like, they're back.
It's promising that he won the beep test, that he won the fitness test over Bronico.
Yeah,
so that tells me he's ready to go. I mean, that's a good thing at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the league that decides when to go out, right? Yeah. So I'm imagining
unless you're Miami, then you get to release your kits whenever you want.
Yeah. So I think February, sometime in February is typically when it was like the 17th or something last year, right?
Who's what's the company that controls all the sales anyway?
Fanatics.
Yeah, Fanatics. It's all about that. I mean, it's definitely not the club's decision. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What's the supporter section going to look like this season? Bigger, smaller? It's going to be interesting because I know like a lot of people's PSLs have changed. So maybe them folks will move over to the supporter section or maybe not.
Pre-sale today. And I'm like vaguely remembering back at what I looked at. I feel like it was exactly the same size. I might be misremembering, but on the map, it looked like it was exactly the same size.
Yeah. And a random question. We have a friendly versus NCFC coming up in Raleigh soon. Why doesn't Charlotte ever have a preseason game versus Independence? I don't know. Is Vaughn froze on us?
I would say if Vaughn doesn't know, I don't know what.
No, why we don't have a game against the Independents? Was that the question?
Yeah.
He said he didn't know. You saw it
behind closed doors, but I think it's just not something that's scheduled. Yeah.
Well, maybe next year. Who knows? Hey, we might see him in the cup. Anyways, we're gonna go down the cup road tonight. So anything else anybody out there wants to cover, drop it in the chat. If not, Vaughn, Matt, anything that we didn't hit that you want to go back to?
It's an exciting time.
Yeah. Going back to Zahar real quick. How many goals does he need to score for it to be deemed a successful season for him in your eyes? At least 12, right?
I'll judge it by goal contribution, so goals and assists rather than just goals, but 16.
16 goals?
16 combined goals and assists.
Okay. All right. Vaughn?
Yeah, I'll bump that up to 17. He needs to be getting a goal or an assist every other game. Like he needs to be averaging at least that. And to that point, right, we're replacing Swiderski, right? Swiderski last year was 9 goal contributions, 7 goals, 2 assists, but that was only part of a season. The year prior.
On with the great Nuggets. JT, how many do you think, man? You got a number?
I just said 10 earlier, but now that I'm hearing the more better points, I'm going to go with 15. I just like holding my hands wide open like that.
That's it. Vaughn, you want to finish up your thought there, man? You talking about a goal at least every other game, and then
we need to be able to replace Swiderski's stats. So if Swiderski's not in the roster, the attacking group needs to make up that difference across the front three.
Fair enough. Anything else anybody wants to touch on? JT, anything that you want to bring up?
I am just very excited. Well, one thing, besides getting back out there and getting together with all of y'all, which is always fun, getting the band back together and the fam, and obviously seeing you here with us. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is the beginning of the season when it's colder or cooler, and it just, I don't know. I really love those early March games into April before it gets hot, that summer stretch.
Yeah,
I enjoy the beginning of the season. I enjoy the whole season, but I can't wait to be back out there wearing a scarf for a good reason.
Not wondering what we're doing on Saturdays.
I know, right? I'm stoked to get back into it.
Yeah. That's it. And again, if you're new to the show, we appreciate it if you hit the sub button as always. This Saturday, if you're free, come to Hooligans, hang out with us, have some beers. Let's celebrate Heidi's life Rest in peace, Heidi. So with that being said, Vaughn, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
At VI Pullman on socials.
Okay. Matt?
At Matt Chantry on socials and under a bucket hat in the stadium.
I say under a bucket hat. Yeah, I was going to get a new bucket hat, but I think I'm going to keep mine for one more season.
Man, you
I
can't.
really like those. There's that footy bucket hats, whatever it is, social thing where you can send them like an old kit and they'll turn it into a bucket hat, and they look really cool. I like some of them.
Yeah.
You need a Heidi helmet.
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's my favorite memory of Heidi, and I will always remember that.
Oh man, yeah, it was
that clip was in there, and that intro.
Man, that was never was, man. Yeah, and then she brought the first aid kit, right? Just because.
Such a good sport, such a beautiful spirit.
Yeah. So if you want to follow us, JT, where can people find us at?
At CLTFC Fan TV, for the fans, by the fans, damn it. Zaha, Zaha,